Alright, I think we're rolling. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I promise, I'm still working on rebooting the channel. I'm on my way to, at long last, only a month late, go and see the Sonic movie, or as it's supposed to be called, Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a bit of a branding issue there. We've got a game that's Sonic the Hedgehog. We have the game, Sonic the Hedgehog. And now we have the movie, Sonic the Hedgehog. It seems that Sega really just doesn't mind calling everything Sonic the Hedgehog. But it doesn't matter because it seems like everything that has the Sonic name on it that's called Sonic the Hedgehog that isn't the first game just kind of gets its own name anyway. We've got Sonic 06 and now the Sonic movie. I'm finally going to go see it. I still can't believe it took me this long. The only reason I'm actually going is because I finally got an invitation from a friend who's here for spring break. We'll actually be on a longer spring break because of the apparent coronavirus. I don't know how to feel about that whole thing, but I guess it's a good thing I'm going now before the world goes into mass hysteria. Topic for another day. So, basically, what it looks like we have here is a buddy cop road trip movie with an animated CGI character, and from what I hear, the actor who plays the human who is traveling with Sonic in this movie is like the same guy from Hop. I don't know if that's correct. I would not call myself an insanely huge fan of Sonic, or at least the games, but I do like his personality. You know, he's got the great stereotypical hero tropes, but he's also fast, so he's a little cocky, and that gives him a bit of an edge, and I think that's pretty cool. As far as the games go, my experience with Sonic is very limited. Keep in mind, I'm mostly a portable guy. You know, I have the 3DS, the DS, the DSi. Let me see. Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic Colors, which is basically Sonic Rush 3. Sonic Generations 3DS, I played a little bit of Sonic Lost World, and I'm sorry, I did not like that one very much. It started out okay, but I don't know, something about it just felt very off to me. My biggest problem with Sonic games is that I have no reaction timing whatsoever. And when you have games on a very small screen, which is an incredible problem on mobile consoles, you get a guy like me trying to play Sonic with the screen very, very squished in, and Sonic takes up a fair amount of it. That makes it very hard for me to play. I can't react to things very quickly, and it seems like you have to know almost ahead of time when you're supposed to stop and start in these games. And I don't know if that's just me or what, but I can say I like how the games are designed sometimes. I can tell there's a lot of love put into most of them. But for the most part, I haven't played many of the console games, which doesn't give me much of an advantage in terms of whether or not I should technically be a fan of this franchise, but I will say I do like the character, and I used to watch Sonic X when I was younger. I actually caught up on it years after it aired, and I enjoyed it, even though I was still a young teenager, I guess. And I also really liked Sonic Boom, of all things. Not the games, the TV series. The TV series is pretty good, and it actually got a lot better during Season 2. So, for the most part, I've experienced very limited bits of Sonic, but I've enjoyed what I've seen. Not enjoyed as much of what I played, but keep in mind, I haven't gotten to play games that people generally praise, like the adventure games, Unleashed. I've heard good things about the day levels in Unleashed, at least. So, I don't know. I think I'm generally going just to support the movie because the development history behind this one is kind of insane, thinking about how it started out as something everybody hated but kind of wanted to see just to find out how bad it was going to be. And then the redesign happened and everybody thought, oh, the movie's gonna be perfect now! First of all, no. This movie has a very obvious plot structure that I've seen a good few times. The plot doesn't get fixed by a redesign of one character. It doesn't. But I will say it still looks fun, to an extent. They probably showed the most exciting scenes in the trailer. That I kind of expect too. But I'm still looking forward to it, if not to laugh at it. Maybe I'll laugh with it. I'm just impressed at the work that went into these animators basically doing their job twice, and they had a long development process for this character and how he should look on screen. In general, the movie history is kind of crazy, but I still want to see how it turned out because I think it's at very least worth supporting. So I am actually here now, and I'm about to park, so I will see you guys after the movie, and I hope you look forward to the upcoming reboot of Denominator, because starting with this video really, with this review, I want to get back into videos and start going gung-ho on it before I go off to university in August. That's gonna mean a lot for me, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to the things I have planned. I'll try to update my format for this video to give you guys a little idea of what I'm going to be doing, and I hope you're looking forward to it. That said, I will see you guys after the movie. Here's hoping that everyone was right. Oh my. That was a movie. It was a good movie, I swear. Oh man. Olive Garden. Really? Olive Garden? Sorry. I'm back! Hello world, my name is Denominator. It's certainly been a while and I apologize for that. I also understand that a lot of you have probably been wondering, what's going on over here? Am I into making videos? Do I actually care about this channel at all? Yes, to all of those things. I have a lot of explaining to do, which I'll do in a separate update video, but now let's focus on the one thing that's been causing pretty much a great outburst across the entire world, the Sonic movie. What's that about? Oh, I'm sorry, hang on, I gotta read something on the script. It says Pandemic. That's a funny way to spell panic. Well, since I've had to shut myself away from the rest of the world, I might as well review the last thing that I saw before I went into quarantine, which was the Sonic movie. With one friend, in a theater with nobody else. We had the entire theater to ourselves. It was the weirdest thing. The Sonic movie turned out to be a lot better than I thought it would be. I think a lot better than most of us thought it would be, given that the entirety of the first trailer was just horrible. There was nothing Sonic about it. Let's get one thing straight here. Sonic the Hedgehog is a great character, and when done right, his games can be especially fun, giving you that sense of speed, action, adrenaline, all of the great stuff that you expect from the 16-bit era, from the Sega Genesis, where everything had to be better than Nintendo. And that essentially meant one-upping Mario, the big mascot of gaming, in every way. Sonic the Hedgehog did that, to an extent, but as time went on, making the jump to 3D and trying to branch out, Sega kinda lost their touch with Sonic. And yes, they've brought him back occasionally and they try to do their best, but I don't know, the most recent things I can think of with Sonic are Sonic Forces, which was just okay from what I heard. I didn't even get to play any of it. And despite Sonic Mania being really good, it was kind of in the end overshadowed by how mediocre of a game Forces was, and that just doesn't help Sonic's name. And then, of course, you have the last big game that was coming out for Sonic, which already happened, Team Sonic Racing, which is essentially just a watered-down version of Sonic and All-Stars Racing transformed. Yikes. So after that, the next thing that Sega fans had to look forward to was this movie, and when we finally got an idea of what it was going to look like, oh boy. Now don't get me wrong, I had a lot of concerns about this from the get-go. We've seen CGI characters in real worlds before, doing the whole buddy cop road trip movie let's see, we've had this happen a couple times now. This isn't the first time this has happened somehow. And it's a formula I think a lot of us have gotten tired of. So admittedly I had a lot of concerns that the movie would turn out to look like that, and frankly, the design did not help. let me get this out of the way. I'm sorry. If anybody still thinks the redesign was a marketing gimmick, I gotta admit, I used to think it was too. It just seemed like night and day with these two trailers and how different everything looked, how one felt like it actually cared and the other was just kind of thrown together. And then I remembered that this is Hollywood. Hollywood has messed up the designs of things before. Do people actually like the live-action CGI versions of the Smurfs? Because to me, they just look off. The colors just, they look so messy and distorted, but the Sonic design tops all of these designs entirely. Good lord, what happened here? Not only that, but the trailer showed almost nothing of Sonic being Sonic. You know, we got to see, one spin dash, one thing where he went fast, he made one memeable quote, and that was it. That was the whole thing. Jim Carrey was the only exciting part of that trailer, and I think that confirmed a lot of people's fears about this movie. So, I don't know. What happened? Because the second trailer was incredibly polished. I think after the first trailer, a lot of people just kind of checked out, and I was sort of there. But then this whole redesign thing started happening, and I kind of started to wonder, is this something they planned? As I said earlier when I was filming myself in the car, first time I've ever done that, the only reason I got to go see this is because a friend brought it up because of the extended spring break. So that's a really weird positive to come out of this whole Corona thing, but okay, I'll take what I can get. And you know what? It was good. It was better than I thought it'd be. It wasn't perfect, and a lot of the tropes that I kind of expected to be in it were there, but I still had a pretty good time watching it. I think the most positive thing I can think of is Sonic looks great.
What are you? I'm a hedgehog. I feel like that's obvious.
He looks great when he's moving, and whenever they put him on screen to show him really getting into the action, that's when it gets good. Anytime Sonic does a Sonic thing, it's good. The spin dash looks really cool, actually. I was expecting it to look kind of weird. I can only imagine how it would look with the original design. Probably terrifying. The thing about this movie is it starts off with so much promise. We've got Sonic fighting Eggman right away. So it is one of those, you're probably wondering how I got into this situation things, and then they do the tape rewind. What's actually funny is Sonic does the tape rewinding sound, and I thought that was kind of cute, just kind of adds to his fourth wall breaking character. And then we get to see Baby Sonic, a thing that people apparently find interesting. I'm sorry, I'll talk about baby trends another day. That is a rantinator for another day, not a discussion, okay? But I will say, it didn't look as weird as I thought it would, and I'm glad that they only spent like 5 minutes on it. This segment of the movie is pretty great. It's very short, but we get to see Sonic running through Green Hill Zone, and he looks great. The entirety of this CGI world looks better than the rest of the world of the movie combined, because you really do spend it in an average ordinary town and then on a road trip. But this part looks great, and I wish that the movie wouldn't be afraid to spend more time in Sonic's world. What Detective Pikachu does differently is that it builds the Pokemon world around our world, and it feels a lot less awkward when the designs are built around that aspect. Everything looked so fantastic, and the Pokemon felt like they belonged there, because that's how it was set up from the beginning. And it just helped really immerse me better into the movie and created a nice sense of tone. Sonic, I mean, the redesign is great, don't get me wrong, but I still think he looks better in Sonic's world, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but I just wish they'd spent more time there. There was so much potential. And probably potential they intend on planning in the sequel, and we'll get to that. So very quickly we get into the main plot of the film, which is Sonic living his life out in Green Hills, Montana, because, you know, Green Hills. This part of the movie is fine. We get to see Sonic doing his thing, and it's definitely an interesting take on this character. He's much more like a child, and he just kind of likes to toy around with human objects and kind of live his own life out in this cave. It reminds me of WALL-E, actually, of all the weirdest things. But, you know, he's got all these human gadgets, and he finds ways to jury-rig them so that it's kind of his own little house. And I don't know, that was kind of cute. The entire movie really focuses on this one joke of Sonic being fast because he's always zip-zapping around. But I think the visuals and the sound design is really good. All that helps to really embody this character, and I think it works. If you weren't going into the movie expecting a lot of speed jokes, I don't know what to tell you, man. Also, while I'm thinking about it, can we talk really quickly about the fact that certain Birds of Prey fans on Twitter were trying to bag this movie for having racial slurs? Somebody should really warn the interracial couple about that, especially considering they're the main characters. I'm sorry, it had to be said, that part's just funny to me. Anywho, the entirety of this movie is basically just Sonic meeting the main police officer guy. His name is Tom, I think. Not a memorable character in my book, I'm sorry, he's just fine. What is it, Tom and I think Maddie? I might have those names wrong. They're not especially memorable. I know that they're not supposed to be, but they still feel like background characters, taking the main character and just kinda grabbing him by the coattails and following him around everywhere. They're perfectly serviceable. There's this little kid. She gives Sonic his iconic shoes, except they're like Puma shoes, because of course they are. I don't know how to feel about that, but that was fine. We'll get to the product placement later, okay? And then there's Maddie's sister, who, I'm sorry, is the worst character in the entire film. All she does is make divorce jokes, and that kind of hit close to home. This character's awful, and I'm glad that she was only in like 2 scenes in the entire movie. And last but not least, we have Jim Carrey, who of course plays Dr. Robotnik, or as Sonic randomly dubs him about 2/3 of the way through the film, Eggman. He's pretty great. If there was a person that I wanted to look up to for being animated in real life, this man embodies that entire idea, and he's so much fun to watch move. Just everything that he says feels like it was never even written into a script. They just gave him an idea to roll with, and he just went with it. And it's so natural. He's the most natural character in the film, and it sucks because that's the kind of character that would have been great to travel with Sonic. We don't see them interacting that much, but when we do, it's great banter. What I honestly found most ironic about this is that Jim doesn't carry this movie. Jim doesn't carry this movie. Jim doesn't care. Honestly, I have to give some serious props to Ben Schwartz because he makes a great Sonic, and I think when these two are at their best, they make up the core of the film. It's really great to see these characters in this world because it really is a brand new universe, which is nothing new for Sonic. We've seen him in different forms and shapes over the years. I like this new take on him. It's like he's a little more childlike and he sort of has an innocence, but he also knows all these pop culture references. I might as well talk about that really quickly. Yes, Sonic does floss twice in the film. I guess people are giving him slack for that because, you know, he was hanging around the town of Green Hills. If there were any kids there, he'd probably follow the pop culture references and do what they do because he sees them a lot. And yeah, okay, fine. But how do you explain the product placement? This movie has so many product placements. It's kind of uncomfortable. There's Freightliner, there's Zillow, there's Olive Garden, there's Puma, there's Olive Garden. There's like 3 mentions of Olive Garden. Was that really necessary? Look, I know that it took a lot of money to get this movie off the ground, but I'm sorry, there are natural ways to work in product placement to a story. The shoes were less obvious, and they didn't even say the name once, and I didn't have a problem with that. But when you have to blatantly spell out the product you're advertising, you're not doing visual storytelling very well. It comes off as a commercial in a movie. The Lego Movie is a commercial in a movie. They don't mention the word Lego once in the film. That's how good the advertising is. I've talked a lot about the different aspects of this film. I should really talk about the story. It's fine. Honestly, it's kind of exactly what I expected it to be, which is sort of a letdown. You know, these 2 buddies go on a road trip, and they come across a lot of cliches. There are 2 whole time stop sequences in this movie, both with a different popular song, and I'm sorry, I don't think I liked them very much. It gives a very strange idea of what Sonic's actual speed is. Like, is he ever in danger? Can he just stop time when he feels like it, or just when it's funny? I don't know. They were entertaining setups, I guess, but at the same time, they went on for too long, and I just kind of got sick of watching them. Apart from that, I think the most notable thing about the film is that final battle with Sonic and Dr. Eggman, which is pretty good. I felt it was a really nice payoff, and it was good to see them actually doing things. Sonic runs through, like, the Great Wall, the pyramids. He just does the whole ring teleportation thing a lot, and I don't know. I thought the teleporting ring thing was fine too. I know that that's like an actual thing that happens in the games, so I don't know, it checks out, and it's a nice use of the rings in this world. And of course the finale, I won't really spoil it, but it basically is the "my friends are my power" cliche, and there's absolutely no explanation for it, like it just happens. It was fine. The thing that really got me during this part was the sound design. The electricity and all of the various sound effects used to make it work really did immerse me, and it felt like there was an emotional climax there, which was not very much helped by the music. Let me briefly touch on that. This soundtrack is not very good. There's almost nothing to it, actually. I expected there to be some kind of Genesis sound effects built into it, but no, it's generic orchestra, and they reference Sonic music like once in the beginning and once at the end, and everything else is just not even remotely memorable. If they had gotten somebody like Henry Jackman to work on this soundtrack, I can guarantee you it would have felt like it came out of the games directly. I mean, this is the guy who worked on Wreck-It Ralph, okay? He would have been fantastic for this film. I'm not even gonna bother to look up who did this soundtrack because I'm sorry, it just didn't really sit right with me. And then, of course, there's the pop song that came from the film, Speed Me Up. It's okay. I would have liked it better if it didn't cut to a rap halfway through, because that's kind of an overdone trope I'm sick of. But whatever. I'll take what I can get. It's better than the rest of the soundtrack. I don't want to spoil too much, but I will briefly talk about the ending. Sonic is going to be sticking around in this universe for a while, and they make it very obvious that they want to have a setup for probably multiple movies, if not like a cinematic universe of some kind. We need more Sonic stuff for a sequel to work, you know, other characters, and that was definitely teased. When that was teased, my friend freaked the heck out. It was great. But I think they're pouring a lot of ideas into a sequel, and maybe decided to play it safe for this movie just because of how much controversy was surrounding it, and also because of the general reception of video game movies in general. Because keep in mind, when this movie was being planned, Detective Pikachu was still in development, which was really the first movie in a while that proved a video game movie could work. So I can, to an extent, understand playing it safe, but I do think this one played it a tiny bit too safe. There were a lot of ways I think they could have better referenced the games and made it feel like something that both respected the fans and was also fun for the little kids. So overall, I gotta say, this movie was better than I expected. Like I said, there are a lot of shortcomings, and it felt a little too generic, hit a lot of tropes that I have concerns with, but overall, I think it's a step in the right direction, especially considering that we don't have a lot of other movies like this coming out recently that I can think of. There's supposed to be the Mario movie in, what is it, back to 2022 now? Directed by Illumination. Not sure how I feel about that, but I swear if there is more than one sighting of a minion in it, I might walk out of the theater. I'm sorry, I'm done with the little things. Either way, I think this is a good step, and because of how much they were hinting at a sequel, I will definitely go support it. If there's one thing to take out of all of this, it's that the animators did a fantastic job at fixing the mistake. And I do hear they got somebody from Sega to make the redesign, which looked fantastic. It really did. I had so much respect for all of these people. I also hear that the studio that animated Sonic closed down after this, so that's like the most bittersweet thing ever. Serious props to them for sticking it through, because I do think that the movie turned out looking pretty great. Even if the rest of the stuff around Sonic wasn't as exciting, it still did a pretty good job at making him work in this world, and I would like to see a payoff with more of that. For anyone who is still on the fence about going to see this movie, it is coming out on DVD soon, so if you are still kind of curious, it'll probably be on digital platforms soon. I would give it a watch. It really does have some good ideas. If I was going to compare it to the most recent video game film, Detective Pikachu, I would say Detective Pikachu sells me a little better just for how it immerses you in the world with the music and the character designs, but I still think the Sonic movie is yet another good step in the right direction. For video game movies and general video game media as a whole, the last time Sonic had a good media presence was Sonic Boom's TV show, and honestly, that was one of the best written Sonic media pieces I've ever seen. So if we can keep going up from stuff like this, I think Sonic might have a good future in cinema. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this little review. I understand that it's kind of been a while since I did anything like this, but I'm really tired of stopping myself from making content. I've been so concerned as to what things look like and if there's anything in the background. I just want to go out there and start making things again, because last year wasn't very good for me. So I can't tell you what to expect in the next coming months, especially with how uncertain things are due to, well, you know, there's a lot of uncertainties going on right now, but I still want to make time to make things I love because I think that's really going to prepare me for my future. I'll talk about more of this in a little update that I plan on releasing in a couple weeks if I can help it, but for now, thank you all for watching. This has been Denominator signing off, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe out there. Have a good one.